We talked extensively yesterday about the situation in Baltimore involving unrest, protests, mostly peaceful, and some violent activity and rioting. And the curfew, which was instituted last night, actually went pretty well. A lot of corporate media, they were just hanging around Lewis, waiting for the chaos. And there really wasn't that much chaos. I mean, it was quiet all overnight up until the curfew ended early this morning. No reports of disturbances in the early morning hours. There was some kind of activity around 10 p.m. last night, but it was almost, Lewis, like corporate media wanted there to be chaos.
Of course they did. It makes for much better television. And do you think that the protesters have got it out of their system? Do you think that, I should say, maybe the rioters have got it out of their system?
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, and we saw increasingly a movement of sort of counter rioters. So there were really not two groups. Some people would say, oh, there were peaceful protesters, overwhelming majority, and then there were rioters. But there were actually kind of three groups that developed. There were the peaceful protesters focusing on the issues around police brutality and this unbelievable story of how Freddie Gray was detained without force or incident and ended up with his spinal cord 80% severed and in a coma after 45 minutes in a police vehicle. Then there are the rioters. And then there are counter rioters who, whatever their views about the Freddie Gray situation, actually showed up, Lewis, to prevent rioting and looting.
Yes, there were many of those people, and there were there were many people coming out and submitting videos to YouTube and using social media to preach to the rioters that this is the wrong thing to do. Maybe that helped too.
And just before midnight last night, Baltimore Police Commissioner Anthony Batts said, "Oh, this curfew is absolutely a success." Quote, "We do not have a lot of active movement throughout the city as a whole. Tonight, I think the biggest thing is the citizens are safe. The city is stable. We hope to maintain it that way." I actually don't know this because I've never been in one of these curfew situations. If there's a curfew like this, does every business close? Like there's no 10 p.m. movie showings because there's a curfew. No bars or restaurants are open after 10. Is it that extensive? Or is it you can't be out in the streets, but if you're going from business to business, that would be okay?
I'm not really sure. I think that, yeah, well, usually curfew means nobody out and about after a certain time. I've dealt with something similar, I guess, when there are hurricanes in certain areas, like in Florida, they implement this, and that means nobody can be out. Of course, that's a little bit different because you're still at risk in your car moving around as well.